Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Phipps, the U.S. History teacher for the global community. I'm here again today to bring you another short video to introduce today's topic of your assignment, and that is the American West. We're doing our geography review, our mapping skills, and all of that. And today, we're looking at the west part of the United States, and it's unlike any place else you've seen if you haven't been out there. See this scenery behind me with the cactus and the buttes and the mountain ranges in the back. Unbelievable scenery. I've been out there many times in the last few years for vacations. You'll not see anything like that in this part of the country. Our part of the country has some beautiful stuff too, but it's totally different out there. Sometimes it looks like another planet. So we're gonna look into what's significant about the western states to American history, and we'll get there much later this year. But for now, you're gonna be mapping them, and hold on tight, and we will explain what you're going to be doing for that assignment. So last time I did a video for you, we looked at this map back here, and I took that map and showed you how to, modeled for you how to do a physical map where I colored and labeled in some of the physical features on the map. Today we're going to use just the western part of that map. We've cropped it out for you and blown it up a little bigger so that it looks like this. And with that map, you're going to make a political map out of it, and you're going to label each of the western states so that you'll have those to study when you end up taking the larger test, where you're going to end up having to identify all 50 states on a map. And I showed you that map, which looks like this, in the last video as well. So all the states are numbered, and you tell which number is which state. So we're not just going to give you a map of the United States and say, here, memorize where all the states are, and give you a test. We're going to break it into smaller chunks for you. So the chunk we're going to start with is the western United States, as you've guessed by now. And this map behind me is the map you're going to be using for the assignment you're going to do today. And it's a pretty simple assignment. You're going to make a political map out of this and just label the states you have on this map. Use your iPad and internet as a resource. Find the states, label them. Also, you're going to need to draw a compass rosette on there to show which direction is which. I'll give you a little hint. On this map, we're dealing with the west. That side of the map is the west. Don't tell your teachers I gave you that. Also, you're going to, if you want, you can label these states over here on this part of the map, on the eastern edge of this map. I just gave you another hint about the compass rosette. That's west, that's east. Can you figure out which one's north and south? I bet you can. But these states over there are cut off on the map, so you can label those too and get a little extra credit. Also, don't forget to label the two down here in the box on the lower part of the map. So you want to, they're part of the map too. They're just too far off to be able to add to this map, so they put them in these little boxes separate. Now, another part of what I'm doing on these little video introductions is to tell you why these areas are significant to what we're going to learn this year. And the West is the last part of our country that was added to the United States. And it was added at different times. The first part that we added was the part here on the east and up through the northern part of this map, and it was called the Louisiana Purchase, and it was taken through a fair and square deal with France and the Emperor Napoleon, as Thomas Jefferson was president, and we ended up buying that in just a real estate deal. It was a really good real estate deal, but it was a fair and square deal. And one of the most exciting things we learn about in U.S. history, one of the biggest stories we tell, is the Lewis and Clark expedition, because once we bought that, most of that land was basically unknown to the white European settlers who had come here. So it was a big, scary question mark what was out there. We bought it, we didn't know what was there. There were lots of rumors about all kinds of things like monsters and stuff that might live out there. So Lewis and Clark took a crew of people, and they made it all the way through to the ocean and mapped out everything and found all kinds of cool new animals that only live in the West that the people back east didn't know about and all that. And it's kind of a miracle that they made it back there and back safely for the most part. And that's a pretty cool story, and we'll get to that later on. Then the other parts of the map here, the southeast, or the southwestern part of this map, came to us during a period called Manifest Destiny. And that was an exciting time to be an American, I'm sure, in the 1840s when we were adding large chunks of land really quickly. But it's also a darker part of our story. Most of what we talk about have good things and bad to them, and you kind of have to weigh it all out and make your own decisions about whether you think it was a good thing or a bad thing. But we basically got that whole part of the map, everything from California to Texas and everything in between, from the country of Mexico. It used to be part of Mexico. And how did we get it? Well, it wasn't the nicest story we're going to tell this year. We got it by war that we provoked with Mexico. We wanted to buy the land, and they didn't want to sell it. So what did President James K. Polk do? He basically provoked Mexico into a war, and then when we won the war, we forced them to sell it to us for cheap, for very cheap. And almost immediately we started making lots of money from their land, or the land we made them sell us. So we have California, one of our largest states in land and our biggest state in population. Almost immediately after we got California, gold was discovered there, leading to the California Gold Rush. Imagine all the money that was made from that, all the people that came from all around the world to California. A few years later, they found oil in Texas, and Texas boomed and made lots and lots of money. So our two most populated states and two of our wealthiest states, we forced right out of Mexico against their will. So we'll add all that to the story. So there's lots of historical significance there that we're going to talk about. It'll come up a little later in the year, but for now, you have your assignment. It's pretty easy. Get at it, and then save that and be studying those for the bigger test. By the way, again, with anything we've given you on paper right now, take a picture of it and upload that picture as your assignment into Canvas. Any questions about that, contact your teacher.